Joining us in Beijing, Liu Zhiqin, senior researcher from the Chongyang Institute for Financial Studies with Renmin University of China, and in Jakarta, Ibrahim Rahman, senior research associate at Indonesia Financial Group Progress. Thank you so much for being with us, both of you. Now, our topic today is CIIE. It is one of the largest international events for imports, mainly organized by China. This year, it's already the 7th. But we are not seeing the 7 years each. Rather, there are more participation coming from all over the world. Mr. Liu, as a international trade scholar, I'm sure you have been following CIIE from day one.
So I have such a deeply impression that this CIIE made greater contributions in China's economic opening up, especially shows our inclusiveness, awareness, and also kindness to the global market. So I think this year's will be more important to attract more important investor and partner for us.
ASEAN is an important player in the participation of CIIE. We see bilateral trade between China and ASEAN has been the priority for both sides. Tell us more as to how this mechanism likely to serve better the business and trade interactions between the two sides.
Yeah, I think event like this will increase better cooperation between China and ASEAN, knowing that trade between ASEAN and China has been emerging since a couple of decades. And for Indonesia in particular, it is very important knowing that China economy is always one of the most important driver to stimulate Indonesia's economy as well. So in our study, we estimated that 1% increase in China economy will be translated into 0.25% increase in Indonesia's growth. So of course we have to maintain any possibility to leverage trade activities between region, and I think China and ASEAN countries are good complementary. That China is always producing high technology and all end products for pretty much ASEAN citizens, but on the other hand, ASEAN countries are predominantly rich in terms of natural resources, especially Indonesia. So it will be good complementary in the future to keep track what's going on and to see any other possibilities to increase bilateral trade and regional trade between ASEAN and China.
Not only that, we also see this specific CIIE is going to try to support in a big way the least developed countries. According to the latest the United Nations report, we have about 45 least developed countries in the world, and 33 of them are coming from the continent of Africa. I understand there is special booth being set up at CIIE, offered to these economies and vendors for free, so that they can have also an entry point into one of the largest expo in the world. To ASEAN, Indonesia particularly, is this pillar of trade and economic growth among ASEAN economies. As the CIIE taking place, the Indonesian president, who has been sworn in new into the office, will also visit China. So how do you see, the synergy between China and ASEAN, Indonesia particularly, and the interactions between political relations and the next level of trade between the two countries?
Yeah, Indonesia and China has been, the relationship between Indonesia and China has been growing dramatically during the last couple of years, especially driven by, more investment activities, especially during Joko Widodo era, which has just ended last month. So with the new president, Prabowo Subianto, continuing the presidency, I think it will be giving a lot of opportunities in the future. Joko Widodo, for instance, has stressed the importance of increasing the value of Indonesians' economy, growing from natural resources and adding more value added on it by activities such as of nickel downstreaming, which is then being used as China as the leverage for electric vehicles, for instance. So in the future, I think the direction of collaboration should be aimed at fostering not only that we are producing raw materials, but also more involved in global value chain and technology value chain, where China is leading the world. So not only that we provide raw materials, but also increasing the role of Indonesia as a provider of natural resources and increasing the capacity as one of the probably one of a producer in electric vehicles, as the symbol of technology and advancement of technology in the world.
We understand there's already tremendous amount of Chinese investment in Indonesia, for example, about developing nickel as raw materials, but also establishing factories as well as businesses, joint ventures and so on electronic vehicles and clean energy. How do you see this will be reflected at an occasion like CIIE, one of the largest international expo and certainly the largest for import?
It is always a challenge for other countries to really understand China's market. So when we have this type of event, then we see even though that China is producing pretty much everything, then we understand the niche market that China economy is still facet that countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, other ASEAN countries can fill in. So I think this event will give us some more glimpse on what to do as countries surrounding one of the largest economy like China, and to be able to take advantage of internal market, which is actually currently growing with pace of unimaginable pace of development.
Now, the debate about electronic vehicles, especially the EU's decision now to exert tariffs on Chinese made electronic vehicles, have created such a stir about the future of trade even. So how do you see these issues likely to be articulated at CIIE among the business communities from both sides?
I think the EU, the tariff on China's EV cars will have some negative impact in the business affair. But in fact, in the CIIE has less influence, because I think that from both sides, they know the importance of cooperation, especially in the green technology transfer and also including new energy vehicles. CIIE gave a good platform from both sides to learn from each other, also from the green technology transfer and also from other points, especially from medical equipment, because this is also closely linked together. The European society and the community are very optimistic with the cooperation with China in the future. No matter they have some difficulties or pressure from the government side, but actually from business side, that they are really preferring to have more investment in China. Also, they are believed that to have more profit that they can earn from Chinese development.
One of the backdrops of this CIIE, the seventh, is it is taking place at a time when there are geopolitical tensions. There are certainly debates about the future of WTO. There's also a tremendous amount of worries about protectionism, unilateralism in trade practices. For example, exerting tariffs, exerting unilateral measures on international trade, which has been based on rules by WTO and beyond. So what is the significance of this interaction this time?
In the absence of the role of the US and Europe, which are currently pretty much looking inside their own problem, I think China's role is very important to be the new locomotive of the global growth, especially for countries in the southern, in the emerging nation category, so that we can keep the momentum of growth, which is, in jeopardy if we cannot maintain it in good way, and especially in ASEAN countries. We believe that the maturation is there. I mean, countries like Indonesia has been far away from achieving 10%, which we have achieved some decades ago. So these opportunities are giving us more promise that, trade is still the engine of growth for all countries. And knowing that China is the most important partner for Indonesia and ASEAN, the event will guide us towards understanding better the market.
Mr. Liu, also to you, we see China's economy have slowed down somewhat during the first 3 quarters of the year. China wants to aspires to achieve the around 5% GDP growth rate. Certainly, the last quarter becoming extremely important. As a result of that, there are certain new initiatives being put forward. How much will this, in a way, translate into energy, real positive energy that the Chinese business communities can present at the CIIE, and how much will this be able to persuade international investors and international business partners of China?
I think from the participants, from the numbers that increased for this year's CIIE, that shows that great confidence from international and global market. Foreign investors have more promising that target in China. So we can see that in the end of this year that we are very optimistic that China can fulfill its target because of 2 reasons. One is that the central government aware that what challenges we are facing, and that they have followed all these the effective policies to support economic development. And CIIE is one of the major actions and we have taken to show our openness and inclusiveness. This is one point. And the second point is that the market confidence already come back, because we can see October PMI already over 50.1%, that the cover on the back to the recovering territory. We have some pressures and uncertainties and challenges, especially in November and October, but also in December. But we are having more dynamic policies and to support our further strengthening of the economic development.
We understand the last year at CIIE, the number has been the two-way import and export. The number has been tremendous, about 80 billion US dollars. That is quite impressive. Having said that, though, the CIIE is not just about, as the organizers suggested earlier, numbers, but rather a platform for all of us to interact about the crucial issues today. I know we are all looking for ways forward. Now, how much do you see, for example, with the taking place of some of the discussions on the sideline of CIIE under the banner of Hongqiao Forum, mainly on policy discussions and correlations, will provide some new momentum for a complicated and yet crucial international trade environment? Mr. Rotman.
Yeah, it is very interesting and important, like I said before, that emerging countries are actually facing declining source of growth more and more, and keeping an effort to see possibilities in China economy as the major partner is very important for us. Not only to maintain our economic growth, but also to see enhancement and enlargement of the economic value added. Especially in Indonesia is very important, as we target under Prabowo Subianto's presidency, we target to achieve 8% GDP. And that 8% GDP require extra effort, which is extraordinary, so that our trade proportion to GDP should also be increased. Like now we are probably about 10 to 15%, and with target of 8%, we need to increase our capacity up to probably 25% of GDP. That target should be accompanied by better understanding the market. And again, China is huge in terms of potential market that we have to try to see any possibilities to get into the market and to increase the possibility of investment. As you also mentioned, fast train in Indonesia is currently carrying more than 4 million passengers since the introduction of the project. And it has been reducing a lot of economic loss due to traffic jam, due to the time we have to take to travel from Jakarta to Bandung. So the sad event of the forum will maybe important for us to realize yet another potential project, potential collaboration between countries, especially for Indonesia, knowing that China is always our brother, to achieve the dream of increasing the maximum welfare of society.
I think this year CIIE will have some forum that focus on policy support. I think policy support are the major driving force in China's development, especially for the import business. We need that to give more courage for foreign investors and foreign participants to see the brilliant future of China's market. And actually, Chinese economy has four factors. One is the resilience spirit, and the second is a very daring spirit, always trying to do new things, new jobs, or new surprising to the world market. Also very pushful spirit, to always push our efforts, cooperations with all partners. And of course, the other is that very vigor, the spirit, that all these spirits can bring together Chinese partners and foreign partners in CIIE.
Okay. According to some earlier reports coming out of the annual meeting of IMF and World Bank, economists have warned about slower growth, higher debts worldwide. Certainly, mechanisms like CIIE hopefully can provide more momentum and also synergy for better growth. Thank you so much for both of you joining us. Appreciate it.